We started talking about Olam Haba and the role that it's meant to play in our lives. I want to take the first step sort of into the actual weeds of how this process is supposed to work. We each have a motivation. We're motivated by things that bring us pleasure, by anticipating things that are positive. Those are the motivations. They trigger a chemical in the brain called dopamine, and they get us to repeat and do things that we either anticipate will be pleasurable or we feel pleasurable. And so that idea of having things in our lives that motivate us, that move us. So you want to ask the question, what motivates a person to say Modeh Ani, to thank Hashem for being alive? And so there's a simple answer, and that is that a person knows that he has done things that might not justify Hashem restoring his neshama, and he's thanking Hashem that Hashem restored his neshama. Hashem is thereby revealing his emunah, his reliability, in the fact that here he had the person's neshama in his hand, so to speak, when he was sleeping, and he did not exact payment. Instead, he returned the neshama, and so Modeh Ani could be a thanks for that restoring of the neshama. But that presumes that the person already feels good about living. And so now that the person feels good about living, they're thanking Hashem for letting them live. So that would be like, it's starting from the second step. It's not starting from the first step. It's starting from the step that a person wants to live, realizes that he was at risk, and is thanking Hashem that he is able to continue and to carry on to live. And that works if a person has a rich, spiritually or physically and materially, has a rich life, they're happy with their life, then the idea that there is that they have granted another day of life seems to work, and so they can say the Modeh Ani, thank you Hashem for another day. If a person does not have such a clear sense of why it's good to be alive, then there's going to be some more work that has to be done. There was in the book Lieutenant Birnbaum, he quotes the Kloisenberger, whose first Yom Kippur in Buchenwald after the war, he spoke and he basically tore apart the Al-Kheit. And he said, who had anything that who had this and who had that and who had any opportunity. And we have, after getting rid of the whole Al-Kheit, he said, but it's Yom Kippur. He was speaking Kol Nidre. It's Yom Kippur. We have to do tshuva. What are we meant to do tshuva for? And with that, he revealed the basic foundational secret. He said, everyone who's here needs to do tshuva for the undeniable feeling that they had in the morning where they were jealous of the ones who did not wake up. That sense that that they're better off, the ones who died are better off, it's something that we need to do tshuva for. So you say, well, but what is it? That person is not living a good life. what is it that should motivate them to want to live another day and not be jealous of the ones who are spared of the suffering by passing away during the night? And the answer is an alternate explanation from Modeh completely. And that is, the person has focused and developed an understanding of the first prakim of Derech Hashem, where he understands on a very deep level that there is nothing in the world that could possibly compare to Dveikus B'Hashem. And if he can focus on that to the point where it triggers dopamine, where it's something that he is excited about, looks forward to, and he anticipates that with another day, he can not only be Dovek in Hashem, but he can invest that Dveikus into eternity. So the person who is connected with this idea that the maximum good that could ever happen to me is to be more and more Dovek in Hashem, a person who is able to bring that reality into his life, starts getting excited about having another day, about having more life, about having even a moment of more life. Because every moment of life, regardless of what the circumstances and the conditions of that life, is another opportunity for Dveikus B'Hashem. So again, there's an approach, legitimate approach. I thank Hashem because he had every right not to restore my neshama, so I thank him for restoring my neshama. There's another approach which relates to the degree to which a person has internalized Dveikus, and they have recognized and acknowledged, and it actually motivates them. More Dveikus is more excitement. It's more to look forward to. It's more pleasure. And whether their Dveikus is coming through Chesed, through doing mitzvos, coming through learning Torah, it's coming through supporting and helping those who are also involved in Avodas Hashem. Whatever the aspect of Dveikus is, it means that I'm thrilled to have another moment, because the only place that a person can develop that Dveikus is here, is while we're alive. So these two approaches are critical for a person to be able to channel and harness his drive for pleasure, his drive for enjoyment, his drive for having a good life. He channels that into, I have the best possible life, because every moment that I am alive, I have more capacity for Dveikus. And that becomes the trigger. Interestingly, by the way, there's another chemical in the brain called serotonin, and that is what gives the person a feeling of well-being and calm, and allows him to carry on with his life without anxiety. So interesting, we have Dveikus triggering dopamine, and bitochon triggering serotonin. So those are not the only feel-good chemicals in the brain, but they're the big ones, and the ones that we can almost feel tangibly. So a person who lacks that sense that life is good is always going to be struggling. It's interesting to note that most people don't ask the question of why I'm alive. Because people who have a good life, maybe a fulfilling life, they don't ask because it's simple. I have a good life. I'm happy to have another day of life. And those who don't have their act together, whose lives materially or spiritually are not in line, are so busy trying to get their ducks in line that they don't ask the question of why I'm alive. So it's not a popular question to be asking, but it's a question that requires that we ask in order to channel this desire for life. Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim. Who is it who wants life? In order to channel that desire, we need to be able to focus on the benefits of dvekus and what it really means to be dovek in Hashem, which is the reason why we were created. We were created because Hashem wanted to give us access to Him, to the absolute good, to the ultimate and absolute good, in especially to give us that sense of dvekus eternally through our own choices, through a sense that we have earned it. So this idea of being motivated by dvekus, as opposed to simply be motivated by, hey, it's good, why wouldn't I want another day of life? And remember often that I would say to a teenager, listen, I found an hour in my pocket. I didn't know it was there. I found an hour in my pocket. Can I give it to you? And invariably the answer was, no. I got plenty of those. I have a hard enough time dealing with the ones that I have, and they're a burden for me. And give it to somebody who will use it well. Not once did a person turn back to me and say, excuse me, if you found an hour in your pocket, why are you giving it away? What's going on in your life? Why are you giving away? Why are you offering me the hour that you found in your pocket? The preciousness of that hour should be one that you yourself would want to grab a hold of. What's going on in your life? Never. They can say that I don't want the hour. Don't give it to me because I kill time like it was going out of style. I kill time with games and with every possible nonsense, with the internet and with YouTube. I kill time all the time. Don't give me an extra hour. I'm not going to do anything with it. But to be able to say, wait a second, that is exquisitely precious. What are you going to do with it? And why are you thinking of giving it away? And so the key of the story in thinking about Olam Haba is thinking about whether dvekus is becoming the motivator of my life, whether it's becoming the excitement, it's becoming that which I yearn for, it's becoming that which gives me the energy, the drive, and the will to live another hour, to live another day for sure, to thank Hashem for granting me another day. So Olam Haba actually has a very close tie to our day-to-day lives. Because if a person really has worked through and is working through the significance of dvekus in Hashem and why that is the ultimate good that could possibly be afforded to a person in any condition, once a person recognizes the preciousness of dvekus, then the thought that that dvekus is going to last forever becomes even more exhilarating. It's the icing on the cake. And not only can I have that dvekus today in my life as I'm living it today, that will spill over and will provide dvekus forever. And so that Olam Haba is not just a theoretical idea that there's reward and punishment. There's Gehenna and Gan Eden. Those all are deal with the issues of reward and punishment. This is specifically about accentuating and identifying the preciousness of dvekus. And for that, you really do need to spend some time thinking about what is the ultimate good that a person could ever have. And you need to think about it to the point where it gets you excited about finding another hour.